What's up, Kryptonians? Welcome to my first movie review of 2025. I hope everybody has been enjoying their new year over the last few weeks. During the first couple of weeks of 2025, I usually try to take a couple of weeks to reset, recharge, get ready for the new year. Luckily for you guys, my 2-week vacation is now over, and now I'm back to doing videos, and today we're here talking about Den of Thieves 2, Pantera. Den of Thieves 2, Pantera is directed by Christian Gudegast, I think that's his name. This film, once again, stars Gerard Butler. It stars O'Shea Jackson Jr. It stars other people whose names that I don't remember at the moment. This is a sequel to Den of Thieves, which came out about like 5 or 6 years ago. I can't even remember when Den of Thieves came out. Maybe it was 2021 or something. 2021, 2022, maybe it was 2020. Can't remember. Either way, Den of Thieves came out. I really liked that movie. And so years later, we have a sequel. So in this sequel, Donnie is working with this new crew in Europe, and his whole plan is to pull off this big heist of the Diamond Exchange. Nick, who played that special investigative officer who was pursuing him in the first movie, has now pursued him to Europe, and then they kind of meet up, and now they're kind of working together. They both have to kind of put their heads together to pull off this heist where neither side can really trust each other, but also this is a heist that they might not even be able to pull off. And so there you go. I don't know what I expected going into Den of Thieves Part 2. I did think maybe they could build on some of the stuff that was a strong point in the first movie. One of the strong points of the first movie was the dynamic between Nick, played by Gerard Butler, and O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s character, Donnie Wilson. There's definitely an antagonistic type of quality to their relationship. You can tell that they don't fully believe in each other or trust in each other all that much. You can tell that Nick still has like hard feelings over the fact that he feels that Donnie got one over on him in the first movie. There's that little undercurrent of resentment that's underneath their relationship, but also there's a little bit of a bromance here. I'm not saying things go completely bromantic, but absolutely this is a movie where these guys kind of hash out their issues and they deal with it like men, and they have fun together and they enjoy each other's company sometimes. So in that sense, actually, yeah, it does feel like a full-blown bromance. I love their chemistry. I love the interplay back and forth. Whenever those two were on screen, I was the most invested. Also, shout out to this movie. It's pretty well directed. I like the shot selection here. I also like the way that they built up to this big heist. The heist that they're trying to pull off doesn't actually feel more impossible than the heist from the first movie, but it does feel different. It does feel unique. The film has pretty good music. It also does have some pretty tense action scenes, most notably a big action sequence towards the end of the film that kind of serves as like the capper to the whole movie. There's also this new girl whose name I can't remember at the moment. I think her name is Evine. I could be getting that completely wrong. You guys know me. I get names wrong on this channel all the time. But Evine, her character was kind of interesting, and I do like the dynamic that sort of popped up between her character and between Nick. Like, that was kind of interesting to watch for a while. You got a few tense, well-directed sequences. You've got a little bit of tension that's squeezed out of the movie, and overall, if they're trying to build this into a franchise, I do think that they left off in a way where there's plenty of directions this can go. Unfortunately, I do walk away from this movie thinking, you know what, it was pretty solid, but it definitely wasn't as good as the first one in my opinion. I will say the pacing in this movie definitely feels a lot worse than the first one. In the first one, you didn't necessarily have a lot of great character development, like the characters weren't necessarily fleshed out, but you did have a lot of dynamic personalities that were clashing at different moments in the movie, and that made the movie more entertaining. In this movie, all you really have is the build up to this big heist that happens at the very end of the movie. Because it's a build up to that heist, you're left with these characters that are not well developed, and unfortunately, the only real dynamic personality that exists here is Gerard Butler's character. When you're left with characters that feel a little bit more boring, and the only dynamic you can really feel invested in that really is given a second of thought is the dynamic between Nick and between Donnie. Like, when that's not happening, you do feel a little bit angsty. You do feel a little bit bored waiting for this heist to get pulled off. The build up and the montages to how they're planning to execute it, it's just not as interesting, and the character work is not as interesting. So that right there tanks the pacing for this movie, makes it feel a lot slower, a lot more boring. I feel like there's a twist that comes with the story like this, and it's a very predictable, easy to see type of twist. You call it almost immediately in the movie, and the movie doesn't let you down. It very much telegraphs that this is what's gonna happen in the story. Honestly, it's okay if it telegraphs it like that, but I do feel like this hurt the overall direction of the story. I feel like there was a more interesting direction that they could have taken this, and they just decided to not do it. I'm a little bit disappointed in that. And then all the other stuff is just like comparing sequels to the original, right? I mean, it's not as well made as the first one. The heist is not as interesting. It's a movie that also feels like it's about 15 minutes too long because of this pacing. I feel like if they had cut the movie down to about 2 hours, maybe 2 hours and 5 minutes, things would have flowed a little bit better in the movie. I could definitely see people walk out of this movie going, yeah, that was kind of boring. I thought it was solid entertainment, but definitely not as good as the first movie, I'm gonna leave this one in the Daily Planet. It's a solid 3 out of 5. I thought it was cool, I enjoyed it, definitely should have enjoyed it a little bit more, but if they're gonna make more of them, I am interested to see where they go. Those are my thoughts on Den of Thieves 2 Pantera. I know I'm late, but tell me, did you see the movie? What did you think about it? Give me your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. Stay tuned for a lot more videos and special announcements that are coming up on the channel. Please like and subscribe to the Superfan Show, and if you like what you see, tell me how you feel, and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.